Hello and welcome everyone to another InventRight live stream with Mr. Stephen Key, and my name is Andrew Krause. Together we co-founded InventRight 23 years ago. We've had students in over 65 countries. What do we coach and mentor people to do? We coach and mentor them to license their products. What is licensing? It's basically renting your idea to a large company and receiving a royalty for every unit they sell. Don't need to start a business, don't need employees, don't need to raise money,
Wait a
and
minute.
that's licensing. Yeah.
Come on, Andrew. That sounds too easy.
Sounds too good to be true. Yeah.
It
So here's
does.
the hard part. So it's great once you do that deal, but how do you do that deal? So we guide people to do everything right. So the highest chance of success that they will do that deal. And you're not going to get every company to do a deal. You might need to reach out to 20, 30 companies. One does a deal. Most inventors don't bother to do that. We make sure that our students do. So we do these live streams for the public at various times where you can ask questions. So it takes a while for people to have their questions come in. Scott just came in. Some other people will be streaming in. So we'll just ramble and talk about some things as people
Now
start
wait a minute.
to ask
Now
questions.
wait a minute. You want me to do the work?
You're talking about if somebody's a student of ours?
Yeah. You want me
Yeah,
to
yeah.
do the? I want you to do the work.
Okay. Well, there's companies that do that, but we know how that turns out. Why? I mean, there's good reason why the Federal Trade Commission, the Patent Office warns against these invention promotion companies. If you do the work, you know what's going on. If you're an inventor that's been coming up with ideas your entire life, you need to know how to reach out to companies. The idea, this is nobody likes this, right, Stephen? But the idea is maybe 5 to 10% of the process. That's it. If you're saying, well, I'm doing 5-10% of the work, maybe 5, and I want somebody to do all the rest of this work, make a sell sheet, file intellectual property, make a list of companies, reach out, negotiate, study the marketplace, do the marketing right, do everything right, that's not a reasonable expectation. And so there's an endless list of companies that says, yeah, we'll do all that for you, but they're just pretending to. They have no success whatsoever. Our students have success because they're actually doing the work, because the person that came up with the idea is the one that's most motivated to do it. And there are people out there that will readily take advantage of folks that don't want to do the work, but we're saying we're going to guide you, we're going to coach you, we're going to mentor you, and you have to be willing to do the work, and you're being unrealistic if you're not willing to do that work.
Well, wait a minute. I'll just go on Shark Tank and let the sharks do all of it.
Yeah. Well, that's not really how Shark Tank works, is it? We know that. The sharks do all the work. They don't do anything. All right. And so licensing is a lot sexier than Shark Tank, because when you license to a big company, let's say it's a big company selling kitchen stuff, and they're in Walmart and William and Sonoma and 2 or 3 other retailers. They have that distribution. When you do a deal with a shark on Shark Tank, they're like, "Oh, we'll make this, and then we'll try to get distribution." And the retailer doesn't really care that you were on Shark Tank 3 months ago or 3 years ago. Okay, maybe you can put on the package, maybe that helps a little bit. But when you do a deal with a very large company that has that distribution at retail now, and they have manufacturers reps that are constantly calling on the buyers of those retailers, that is much stronger than a deal with Shark Tank, where you have this one product, one SKU company. When you have a manufacturer's rep at a company you license to, and they're talking to buyers at those retailers every month, that is a much stronger relationship than I was on some silly TV show. I mean, let's be real. So licensing is way sexier than Shark Tank.
Okay, wait a minute. Okay, wait. I'm just going to make it myself and sell it on Amazon.
Well, that's a way to go. It's a viable way to go. But again, we're poking fun at some of these other methods, and they're not all wrong, but we believe they're mostly wrong for most people. Okay, so it's not 100% that's wrong, this is right, licensing's right, going on Amazon is wrong. We're not saying that, but we're making points here, right? So that's why what we're doing here. Amazon's like a website. You create a website and put it up, but if you don't do any search engine optimization, you're lost in a sea of websites on the internet, right? And it's the same thing with Amazon. You just throw your product up there, you're lost. And you need a lot of money to do that properly. You're going to be manufacturing a product. God knows how much that costs, depends on the product. and then you've got to pay money to get better listing in Amazon. And you're competing with God knows how many others. I mean, you search for cell phone case, and there's like 30,000 cell phone cases on Amazon, and you're on the 56th page. What are you doing there? So now, if you license to a company and they have a bunch of products, and oh, that product, oh Jesus, they have 12,000 reviews, 5-star reviews. Like, so back in the day, we used to say, don't license to a company that sells on Amazon because it wasn't strong. But that's not necessarily the case now. Maybe they got look at, they got that product, 12,000 reviews, and look, they're also in 3 retailers. That would be a good potential licensee.
Well, I'm just going to wait a minute. I'm going to simplify everything, and I have an idea. I'm just going to find those companies that have a portal, and I'm just going to submit my idea. I don't need to.
Now you're just randomly. You went completely off on a different topic now.
I am. I want to talk about what everybody's thinking about, because I'll tell you, I want to go back, you guys. I have a couple of rants again. I did a lot of rants last time. I got a few more rants today.
Well, no, last time we did an impromptu thing. I didn't know what Steve was going to do. It was entirely about patent attorneys.
Yes.
Right? We're not going to do that again, but
they drive me crazy.
Well, watch the last live stream if you want to check that out.
I'm going to talk about them today too. I'm not letting these guys go.
Right.
But I even did a video on our YouTube channel. Right. If you haven't watched it, it went out on Tuesday about patent attorneys. Please watch that, because I went on a huge rant there. I'm not stopping to these.
I haven't watched that yet myself. I haven't watched it.
Because you know all the problems these guys cause.
Yeah.
You know
what we talked about for a whole hour last live stream.
Not enough. Not enough. Okay. I do want to say one thing about these so-called portals. You guys. Now, there's companies out there.
Well, first of all, people get confused. Define what you see as a portal. What is a portal?
Online. I've got a great idea. Hold on, you guys. It's online. Submit my idea through this portal. Have an idea. Submit here. It's that little button you're looking for as an inventor. They're looking for ideas. I'm just going to submit my idea through this portal.
Yeah.
I'm just send it off. Now, I'm here to tell you, you guys, it does not work that way, right? These companies that have these portals, now, not all of them, like Andrew said, this is not the case for every single company. Of course not. But what we've learned, that these portals, companies don't really license ideas from the portal. And they've told me that, Steve, oh, no, we've had that portal up for a long time. We really don't license any ideas through there. Or we're using this one third-party portal, but no, we've never taken an idea through there.
But then when you ask them, have you licensed ideas? Oh yeah, we've licensed ideas, but how are they coming to them?
Through the portal.
Not through the portal.
And if the guys, these third-party people that have these portals, if they have any success, let me see that. I don't see any of it. They never say, yeah, we've got all these companies. We have all these companies that we represent, send it to me. It's only going to cost you X amount of money. But it doesn't work. If it did work, they would show that success. So what I'm saying here, you guys, to really be good at this, you have to build a relationship with a company, right? And not send your idea through this black hole, disappears.
And what's the easiest way to build a relationship?
Well, there's a couple ways. Number one, we're big believers to do it through LinkedIn. We teach a class twice a week. We've written a book on it. We love LinkedIn, but you have to do it correctly. You could call the 800 number. We know that too. I love calling. It's not most people don't like it, but you can definitely get into companies that way. Trade shows, you could walk the show, find those companies, right? You could work a show. So all these other ways of finding the right people that want your ideas.
Or email, and so that's the way you reach out. But the thing that I always like to simplify for people is the way you build a relationship with a company is just to send them your first product. Ask permission to send them your first product, because then now you've got their email, you've got their phone number probably, and when they say no to your product, which most will, you only need one to say yes, you have now made a relationship. But that's not how most inventors see it, Steve. And they go, well, I got rejected by these 28 companies. I'm like, but you reached out to 30 companies and you licensed it to that one company. You have made relationships with 30 companies. And if they said yes to receiving your first product and you had a decent sell sheet and you conducted yourself in a professional manner, you have a relationship. Now, if you send a terrible sell sheet and you conduct yourself unprofessionally, they're putting you, as Steven says, in the amateur pile, probably, and you have not created a relationship. You've created, oh, this guy again, delete. And, you know, so yeah.
They've told me they've got a list of people that reached out to them incorrectly they don't want to work with. But Andrew, the thing that we don't really talk about too is that, and the companies know this, they've told us this, it's very unlikely we're going to take that first idea you submit to us. Very unlikely. It happens, but no. It's usually the third or fourth idea, maybe.
Yeah, but if you show one idea to 30 companies and then you show another idea to those 30 companies, and then, you know, you can license your first product, but it might not, it's not going to be to every company.
Well, what they're saying too, though, when they say this, that first idea you reach out to and you build a relationship, and you're following up by submitting another one.
Yeah.
You're following up by maybe resubmitting it, make some changes, you get some feedback, by spinning another one. You're showing them that you're investing in them. And then when they recognize that, go, you know, this person's not giving up. Wow, this person's got some good ideas. It's not quite right. Maybe that's not right for us today, maybe later, but not quite right. But he sends another one in. You're really building that relationship. And eventually they just might tell you what they're looking for. Now, Andrew, before we get to the questions, you and I know how important that hit list is. Right?
And talk about the want list or the hit list?
The wish list.
The wish list, yes.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, we had two Bridging the Gap companies for our coaching students. We have two companies come on a month. They talk about a little bit about their company. Here's our product line. Here's what we're looking for. And they'll give you some hints and things, and they'll give you direction. But these two companies recently, they said, not only that, I will email you a wish list. Anybody that's a student of ours and they want it, they'll send you a wish list. I mean, when they're going through their product line, what's worked, what's not worked, they're kind of giving you direction, which is great, which is really unique to our Bridging the Gap. But when they say also, if you ask, we'll give you the actual wish list. They don't give that to the public because they don't want our competitors to see it, but they're comfortable with it because these are students of ours. They know it's not going outside the walls of InventRight, you know.
And the minute you have a target to hit, right, that's a relationship. There's hey, we're looking for this, and that allows you to kind of zero in. So let's get some questions here. I love this first one. Which trade shows are good for inventors to make good contacts for kitchen gadgets?
Well, the Houseware Show, the Houseware Show, you know. What do they call it now? They changed the name.
Inspired International.
The Inspired Home Show. Like what the hell? Yeah. Well, we still call it the Houseware Show because that's what it is. The Houseware Show. It's ridiculous. They changed the name. That is actually, guys, my favorite trade show, which really sucks because I'm a little lazy in this respect. I live in Henderson, Nevada, which is right next to Las Vegas. Like 75% of the trade shows are here. So I only have to go, you know, drive like 15, 30 minutes to get to the trade show. But my one favorite show where I see the most innovation, the most companies that are really open to ideas,
a good show,
is the International Inspired Home Show, Houseware Show in Chicago. So they need to frickin' move it to Vegas so I can just drive 20 minutes and go there. But
should I buy a booth? Talk about the booth. Should I buy a booth?
You know the answer to that. You answer it.
I'm an inventor, and I have an idea. I want a license. Should I buy a booth?
Sure. If you got lots of money to waste and you don't want to talk to the right people, yeah, sure. Okay, so Steven's prompting me because he knows this gets me. When you're at a show, what are the typical people walking around, like the Houseware Show? The people that have the booths are manufacturers. They're making a kitchen cutting board, can openers, whatever, housewares, right? Home storage organization, houseware stuff, you know, all sorts. They have tons of stuff beyond that. So they're a manufacturer. They have booths, okay? Makes sense for them, all right? That's not you. You're looking to license. You're not manufacturing. Who are the people walking around to these booths? Who's standing in front of the booth here? This is a retailer, a buyer for a retailer. Oh, I see your kitchen cutting board. I want to buy that and the other products you have. Okay. All right. So that's the person that has the booth, is the manufacturer of the housewares. Now, you should be you don't have a booth. You're walking around. It's free. Now, it's not free. A booth is very expensive. God knows how much that costs. Insane amount of money. Okay. And I don't care if it's an inventor. If sometimes shows will have lower priced small booths where the inventors are there, which retailers don't really take as seriously. If you ask me, that's just my personal opinion. So you don't want to get a booth. You want to be walking around, and you want to go booth to booth to booth. And I don't know. This is
That's good. That's a
booth.
booth. That's
Yeah.
a booth.
Booth to booth to booth, and you are looking for potential licensees.
Yeah.
And they are manufacturers.
Well,
and to get into the show, it's usually free if you register in advance. Now you still have the plane flight, and you still have your hotel. Now, if you're flying to Vegas, where I live, you can go see some shows, and they can try to bleed money out of you, and you can lose money for gambling and stuff. But you can combine it with a little vacation if you want to.
And you know what's interesting about these trade shows? And I've been going to trade shows for over 40 years. I love trade shows, and I work a trade show, meaning I'm working it. I'm knocking on doors. I'm meeting potential licensees. I'm meeting companies. That's how you work a show. But I asked someone the other day that's kind of a big believer in these trade shows for inventors. And I said, all right, okay, fair enough. Show me a success. Show me one. Show me any. Zero.
Yeah. Well, first of all,
crazy, Andrew. It just drives me crazy. But anyway,
yeah.
Let's move on from that. We got a lot of questions I want to hit, but I want to say one thing. There's someone that's watching our show that I didn't know was watching our show, and I want to make a call out to that person. Because sometimes, and the person asked me, Steve, I listen to your shows all the time. Do you see me? I go, no, we only see the people that comment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we don't see other people watching it. And this is one of our favorite people we have on our YouTube channel, Mark Portney.
Oh, yeah, he's a
spicy Mark. Spicy
he's
Mark.
I call him Potty Mouth Mark because he swears.
I know you do. I know you do.
Not big on that, but
I know. But Mark Portney, if you watch our YouTube channel, he gives a very different perspective on products. He's more in the venturing side, which we don't really like too much. He takes projects on. I mean, the guy's out there, but I'll tell you his perspective. The one thing you're going to get from us, and you're going to get from Mark, we're going to tell you like it is, kind of.
Yeah. No. So what I just said. So Mark has great advice. I'm not saying it in good advice. He just swears a lot. But it's funny. I don't swear very often at all, and I swear like once on my live stream on YouTube. And we got somebody emailing me like, oh, I really thought Andrew and Steve were great, but then Andrew, why did he swear like that? I don't know. They had their kid watching or something.
He said one word. I mean, that compared to Mark.
I'm like, they do not want to watch Mark on this videos.
You're like, I couldn't
like
believe
an angel.
it, Andrew, because I'll tell you, Mark, you know what you're going to get. You never swear at all. So one time we said this one word.
Yeah, I think people were surprised. I think I just said like "God damn it" or something like that. I didn't even say it. Wasn't even a swear
word.
Anyway,
I told Mark I'd do a call out. Hey, Mark, thanks for watching. I didn't know you're a fan, but thanks for watching our Q&A.
That's funny. Hey, you guys, if you type in, we had one person here that said, "Oh, I thought this was a 7 p.m. I have no idea what time zone they're in." We should check on social media. I don't know if we're still showing the old time because we're doing a little bit earlier now. But if you guys type in if you just got a notification we're doing this or you plan to attend. Right, plan to attend or just got the notification. I'm really curious because we have a lot of people on here. A lot of folks.
One from Josh. Those portals are very tempting, though. Yes, they are. They're very tempting.
It looks good.
Majority here, they're very tempting. Well, I can certainly find a way around the portals. Is there anything wrong with using it anyway? See, they gotcha. Yeah. No, don't do the portals. You guys, there's two places where I think the portals are okay. Now, I know there's a lot of portals, but there's only two. OXO, the kitchen company, I think they do a great job at the portal because they do work with a lot of inventors. They have a great inventor relations department. They're very serious. They license a ton of stuff. OXO is a great company. I also think Hasbro with their Spark, they're very serious about it too. But every other portal out there, nothing. So don't do it. There you go. Don't do it. And the ones that charge money, forget it.
Oh my God, I would never pay to submit a
Well, some of
product
them
to a
charge
company.
money, and some of them charge money now.
No, that's not okay.
I mean, why? Let me tell you how ridiculous this is. Portals don't work, and now they're going to charge you money to go into the portals?
To submit a product to them? That's wrong. That's not good. Okay.
It's just awful.
I saw one once where they said it's a $5 donation to a charity. So they're just trying to see if you, but I thought that was interesting. I've only seen that once.
That's not bad.
Yeah, they're like, okay, if people don't have $5, but I thought that was just only one time I've seen that. Okay, most people are just typing in, just happened onto this while it's live on LinkedIn. I'm subscribed to you guys, so I got notified. That's how people.
Hey, Eric, I just spoke to Eric this morning. Welcome to InventRight. He's part of our program. I had the second call. You guys, just so you know, when you sign up to be a member, you have that first call with your coach. He goes through everything, gets to know you, gets to understand what you're trying to achieve. And then that second call, I'm on that second call to make sure we have a game plan. And then I'm going to follow up later during your program to make sure everything's working right. So, Eric, it was a pleasure meeting you today, and I see you there. Thank you for coming on.
Cool. I got a question from David here. David says, while doing my patent search, I found an expired patent that has some similar characteristics to my product. Should I consider this as prior art that might prevent me from patenting my product, even though my product has major improvements? So, David, it's okay. It's all right. So maybe it has some similarities, but yours has some improvements that doesn't have, and that's what you're protecting. And that patent that expired is public domain. Anybody can do those features, right? But you've got something new. I would not worry about that. I would not worry about that for 2 seconds. Now, it depends on every scenario, but if you believe your product has benefits over and above, if somebody made that version on that product that's patent is expired, and that was sitting, I'm using my hands a lot today, Stephen, and then yours is sitting on the shelf right next to it, and most people would buy your product, let's say 60 to 70% would buy your product over this other one, you're good. That's fine. You've got enough benefit to license the product. What do you think, Stephen?
I think you're absolutely right, Andrew.
Okay.
I love the way you explain this stuff. You're just on point.
I'm using my hands.
You're on point today.
My wife is a Italian Brazilian, so I'm using my hands more because she's. I
really like it. I really like it. I really like it. Let's see, what else do we have here? Question. Oh no, you already answered that one. That was a good one, Andrew. You answered that so spot on.
Well, let's do this one. Paul says, "Evening, guys. How are you guys doing today, Stephen? How are you doing?"
Well, I'm a little irritated. Let you ask. No one ever asks, how am I doing today? I'm very irritated.
Okay, all right.
I was on a call earlier today with one of our members and a patent attorney, and this patent attorney is driving me crazy because he's doing things that are not appropriate.
Yeah.
Right. And so it bothers me. And Andrew knows how passionate I am about it, how we fight for every one of our members. And I'll tell you, I don't like when someone's doing something that's not helpful. They're taking advantage of you. I don't like it. So that's what I did this morning. So that didn't set me off. That was at 7 a.m., Andrew. That was that great call at 7 a.m.
Yeah. But we take care of our folks, and sometimes we don't. Oh, let's not go on. We did a whole hour on attorneys yesterday, but sometimes people just don't know the way to work with an attorney. We did an IGA meeting yesterday, and this guy was giving some great tips about working with an attorney, and I was asking questions.
Andrew, you said this. You said something to me, and you said this many, many years.
What did I say?
It's very easy for a patent attorney to sell fear.
Yeah.
Right. And they really have an obligation, kind of, they have a code of conduct that if they're not doing certain things, you can call them out and they can get in trouble at the USPTO or the state they're in. They have a certain conduct they have to perform. And some of them do a wonderful job. Don't get me wrong. There's some really amazing patent attorneys and patent agents. And if you guys want those names for those guys, email me, Stephen Key at inventRight.com, and I will send over some of those guys that are fantastic. Now, there's a flip side to this. there are a few of these guys that sell fear, right? And they also are having you spend money in areas you don't need to.
And they're keeping you in the dark as to how it really works.
It's just awful.
Yeah.
And I ran into this one guy. I'm not going to say his name, but this guy, let me tell you where he lives. Now, I'm not going to say that either, but I can tell you, he's just coming up all the time of just causing these problems. And he's thinking he's doing the right thing, but he's really crossing the line a little bit. And I think he knows he is.
Yeah, but you know, even when you have a good patent attorney or agent that you know, it's when do you use them, right? And the invent-right approach, like, so let's say you email Steve and go, hey, give me those good patent attorneys. I need a patent. Well, do you? Like, our whole approach is to file a provisional patent for $60. You can use the smart IP software we have on our site, which is only $99. And if you get unlimited use of it if you're a student of ours, and you spend $60 to get a provisional, and you see if there's interest. You never need more than a year when you're licensing to see if there's interest. If you get interest, most of the time you get the company to pay for the patent. And if you can't, you'll get some sort of advance. You can use that money and you can pay for the patent. And you're quite often, the vast majority of the time, you're going to need to make some changes. If you spend $10,000 on a patent and you realize, oh, the company wants me to make this change, you're going to spend another $10,000. It's insanity, people.
Andrew,
So,
let me go worse than that.
Yeah.
There's a situation where they say, well, we're going to file a provisional patent application, but we're going to do it right.
Right. We want to file it like a full utility, and therefore that's why we're going to charge you $10,000.
Yeah. So now your PPA is $10,000.
Yeah, it's freaking stupid. Or they say, oh, and we'll only charge you $2,000 more when you're ready to upgrade. It's because
here's what's worse.
Yeah.
And then when you want to go to a non-provisional, it's another $6,000, $7,000.
Right. Well, they know that a lot of inventors won't come back to them, and they're like, I'm going to get as much money I can. This is my take. As much money out of this inventor as I can now, because I don't want to just get a little bit for filing a provisional.
We want to do it right. We want to do it right.
Right. It's bullshit. Bullshit. You know.
Thank you.
So John, on another, rant, Stephen, go off on here.
And you swore.
Bullshit. Yeah. Well, I think it's legit. When I'm fighting for people,
you try to be Mark Portney here. Stop it.
Yes, Mark. If you're here, if you want to type in, you give me a list of your favorite swear words. I'll write them down. So
love Mark. Yeah, I know everybody likes Mark. He's crazy. Tim Brennan. Wait. We have Tim Brennan in the house. Tim, all the way from the UK. Great product. Hey, I want to talk about. Yeah, grab that product for a minute. I want to talk about Tim.
One of his products.
Yeah, Tim is one of our members. He's been a member with us for a long, long time. But let me tell you what's really amazing about Tim. Tim is a professional, designer. I mean, he went to school for that. This guy's really, really good. And he built a relationship with the company. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
And because of that relationship, they told him what their wish list was.
Yeah, we told the story before, but it's a good story. I love
the story. They told him, we want this. And he licensed that, the multi-grip mandolin. Great.
But it wasn't what he was showing them. They said, we want something else. And then he invented this. Then he licensed
because they were telling him, hey, so Tim, thank you. I love telling that story because
he's been on here many times that we told that story, but I think it's a great story.
Enough.
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead.
Okay. I also want to say one thing here because this question comes up all the time, and we probably have some international people watching this too.
Yeah.
Someone always asks me, if I live outside the United States, can I still license ideas?
Nah, they're screwed. They can't do that.
So I've got a video I just posted, but I want to call out Tim's in the UK. Ben Greenwood licensed an idea to Hasbro. He's in the UK. We have Damien up in Canada's licensing outdoor utensils. We have Laura up in Scotland that's licensed an idea. We have Julie that's done an egg smoking process in Australia. We have Connie that did a microfiber broom living in. And
I'm impressed you're remembering all these.
We've got Muhammad Ali doing Cairo, licensed it all over the world. I'm just saying to you, you guys, you can do this anywhere in the world. Andrew's really impressed that you do all these things, right?
The names in the I'm impressed because you just did the video. Yes.
I just did the video.
Yeah. Okay. I'm impressed. He wasn't. I'm impressed. But yeah, and let's talk about that. some of the major misconceptions people have when they don't live in the United States is they think, well, I'm going to be licensing just in my country. No, 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 no. Like I'll give you Australia for as an example. So Australia is a very large country, but a fairly small population. And the attitude for a lot of Australian companies is kind of a little old school. Well, who are you? You're not a big company. Can you license in Australia? Absolutely. Are you less likely to license in Australia than the US or Canada or Europe? Yes. So if you're in it, like let's say you're in Australia, you should look at US and Canadian companies first. You can look at some European companies, a lot of them, especially if in the US and in Europe. And you can look at Australian companies. There's nothing wrong with adding them to your list. But if you limit yourself to your home country, if it's outside of the US, it's a recipe for failure. You will fail. You have to. And Americans, we have this attitude, and there's a lot of, I think, really messed up attitudes Americans have these days. But I think the one attitude that we still have is we believe anybody can make it. Doesn't matter your
I love that
education.
attitude.
It's part of the American psyche.
What is wrong
And
with that attitude?
it's a great attitude. No, it's beautiful. So even though this person you're approaching is working in corporate America and they're a corporate person, they still have this feeling like I saw Elon Musk do this. I saw this. And it's probably a bad example, but I believe that anybody can do it. So they're not grilling you. What's your portfolio? Like what have you done before? Like they don't care. They just want a good product in front of them. So that is one of the greatest things about, and I don't care if it's a European company and they're really big in the US. If you're contacting American workers and their marketing people, in the back of their psyche, that's what they believe. Now, if you're doing that in Australia, and Australian people told me this, in the back of their psyche, they're kind of really questioning you. So that's why your main focus should always be the US and Canada and Canadian and European companies that are really big in the US and Canada. And a European company that's big in the US and Canada is the same as an American company to me. They're Americans you're reaching out to, they got an American office. And fine, be proud. Reach out to companies in your home country, but do not limit yourself there. You don't do that, people. Just don't.
Hey, I want to answer 3 questions really,
I should have been on that video with you, Stephen. I hope you covered all that in your video that you did. Is that coming out tomorrow?
I don't know. It's out now. It's going to be out in 26 minutes. Okay, cool. Okay, you guys, I want to answer some of these really quick here. Someone says, look, should I simplify my product idea? I've been told an invention is too technical. Yes, Paul, do it. If it's too technical, make it simple. Okay, answer that question. Number 2, someone's asked me, hey, I'm from Brazil. Thank you. Andrew goes down to Brazil all the time.
I'm going down there this summer, actually. Yeah.
So thank you for attending. Okay, great. We have international. Someone's asked me, Steve, when are you going to get that book done? You guys have got this book called One Big Idea, How to Catch the Whale. I wrote it, and I'm waiting for some big announcement to happen so I can kind of tie in the announcement with the book. Now, what is the book about? Part of the book is about how to overcome every obstacle in a licensing agreement. I told Andrew, the team, I would never write about that. Those are secrets. Those are techniques. But I decided I was going to go through all the obstacles and how to negotiate through minimum guarantees, performance clauses, indemnification, everything to get the best possible deal. You will not find that information anywhere in the world the way I'm going to present it. Number 2, though, part of the book is how do you catch a big company, not a small company, but a major company. So I want to get it out there, you guys. I just want to time it. And let me tell you why I want to time it. And it's really, I'm going to be really selfish here, Andrew. It's all about me now.
Okay.
All about me.
Let's hear it.
I want to time the book so I can make this big announcement and tie the announcement with the book.
Yeah, sure. It makes sense.
It makes sense because I want to use the techniques in the book to make this announcement to show you this is what we did using these. So it helps tell the story a little bit better. So
good marketing, It's good marketing.
I guess. Anyway,
Joshua has a question.
Just answered a couple.
Okay, this one's for you, Stephen, because you've done consumable products. You've done your spin label, which is on the packaging, which is kind of like a consumable product. Joshua says, I have a consumable product. I'm starting to get interest. During negotiations, should I expect a lower royalty? So obviously, when your label went on a container, Steven, and they're going to sell like tens or hundreds of millions of packages with that label on it, obviously that's not the same as getting a 5 or 6 or 7 or 8% royalty on a consumer product or an industrial product, right? So on a consumable product that's really, really high volume, I know what the answer is, but I want you to give it.
Well,
What should he
well,
expect?
it depends on where your invention is. Mine was on the packaging, not the product.
Right.
So my royalty was the 5% on the product, on the packaging. I didn't take 5% on the total package of the packaging or the product in my package.
Which is a unique situation. Yeah.
Very, very different. But even with Fishbone here, the royalty comes off the package, but not the product that's
well, let's say we don't know all the details about Joshua's product, but let's say the whole product is a consumable product. So they're going to buy it over and over and over again.
Usually, well, you guys, bottom line is every situation is very different, and make sure you get some help doing that, because if not, you will make mistakes. I can guarantee it. And people don't really realize you negotiate way before you have the licensing agreement. Because, Andrew, people say all the time, Steve, I'll give you a call once I get the licensing agreement. I go, too late. I mean, I can, but everything leads up to negotiation. It's how you file your IP, your marketing material, who the company is, what you've talked about, costing. All these things kind of add up to where you have some leverage.
But to answer Joshua's question, it's probably going to be a slightly lower royalty, but it really depends. If his product is so amazing and his product's completely new, it's not just a new version of what they're already selling, he still might. I don't care. It's consumable. He still might get 5, 6, 7%.
It's not about the royalty rate.
Yeah, it's a volume, right? So, is it a consumable product and massive? Like, are they going to be selling, 50 million units a year? Are they going to be selling 1 million units a year, 200,000 a year?
Consumable,
yeah.
Most likely, if it's a consumable, it could be in the billions.
Yeah, right? Who knows? So, that's how you're going to determine what the royalty is, and you're going to decide, Joshua, am I happy with that royalty? And that goes to what Steven says is those conversations you have with the company are going to determine what you're going to ask for. So it's not like this general thing, oh, it's a consumable, so it's a lower royalty. It's like, well, geez, okay, if I ask for that, that's kind of like insane. Like I'm going to be earning $5 million a year or something.
Let me tell you, the bigger issue is, who do you license it to?
See, he says starting to get a little interest, he says.
I know, but let's say I have a product that's going to be on Pepsi, let's say. It's a new packaging for Pepsi.
Right. They only sell a couple hundred units a month, it's like, yeah.
Number one, if I license the Pepsi, let me tell you what's going to happen. They will never pay a royalty.
Right.
People don't even know that. They will never pay a royalty. Right. And if I did license to him, it would be a one set fee, and they would never let me license it to anybody else. Okay, so there's another strategy. I license it to the person that sells the Pepsi.
Right.
Okay, because that means that now I'm not part of Pepsi's cost. I can get a royalty from the manufacturer, and he can supply other people.
That's unique to packaging, though. It confuses people, but you're right. And what is correct for Joshua? Joshua, I don't mean to give a sales pitch, but sounds like you definitely need us if you're starting to get interest, and you're doing a consumable product. Like
someone
here's something. Go ahead.
We had a member call us that signed a licensing deal for $10 million. You guys, that's really unusual. Okay, that's not common, right? That's like what the heck happened? But he developed software, he prototyped it, he built it, he could do code, and he sold it. $10 million, fantastic. So he signed up for our program, and I called him up and I said, "Why do you need us? You did a good job. $10 million?" And he said, "Well, I made a mistake. I did it myself. And I realized that I heard you on a video talk about sub-licensing. They went ahead and sub-licensed it for another $5 million, and I didn't get a piece of it."
Yeah.
So did he save himself any money, Andrew? No.
He realized he cost himself money by making a mistake.
Yeah, no, he did. So don't do that, you guys. Get some help. If you got something happening, get some help.
Here's another general thing that I'll say with regards to negotiations that will be helpful. When you're talking to a company, if you're just reacting to what they're saying and you figure they're going to guide you, you're going to fail. At least half of the questions are your questions. And when they ask questions, you're going to redirect a lot of the questions. You're going to not answer some. You're going to answer some. But if you're just reacting to what they're saying, you're probably never going to do a deal. Only the best products you'll do a deal because you're not doing it right. So that is something that when I get people that are fans of ours and they're like, I'm in a deal, and I talk to them and I realize they're literally just reacting and answering the company's questions, thinking that's going to get them a deal. And it's not. You're going to mess it up that way.
Hey, I want to talk to this one person that's talking about Hasbro for a minute. You guys, my background's in the toy industry. That's how I started. We have a lot of our members at InventRight that are in the toy field that are licensing a lot of ideas right now. It's kind of exploded a little bit. But someone that lives in the UK, I just mentioned him, Ben Greenwood licensed this to Hasbro, right? And you guys, it's just what's really amazing about this product. It's reusable water balloons. No plastic, reusable water balloons.
Nice.
Okay. So when you first think about it, it's not 3 balls. No, this is like no big deal. No big deal. Okay. This is a huge deal. And because I'll tell you, the negotiations alone, Andrew, working with Ben took months. And Ben was ready to jump off a cliff every time I talked to him, right? Because he had not been through it. And he kept on thinking they were trying to, do something that weren't appropriate, right? He just didn't understand it because it was his first time. And it's a really big deal because this product sells, with all these warnings, it sells around the world. I mean, this is such a big deal. So what I'm saying to you, when you're dealing with the Hasbro or one of those big companies like that, know what it means? It means you're in the Super Bowl, right? You're not just throwing a football out in the, at the, down at the local junior college. No, you're in the Super Bowl. So if you're going to be in the Super Bowl, find a coach. My best advice, don't do this by yourself. Find a coach that can guide you that's already been through so you can win.
But even, Stephen, we've seen many deals where their coach and our negotiation coach, Paul, or you and I have helped, and they're not mega corps like Hasbro, but they're large or medium-sized companies or even small. And it's like a Super Bowl type competition, and deals can drag over many months. And so just because it's big, you can have smaller companies that are equally difficult too. Without a doubt.
Yeah. So this gentleman's asking, I've got more than a sell sheet. I've got some other stuff. I want a higher royalty rate. How do you negotiate a higher royalty rate? I don't care if it's Hasbro. Let's say it's anybody.
Yeah.
How do you get a higher royalty rate? Okay, let's talk about that for a minute because I don't think people understand. It's all about what you're bringing to the table and making their life a little easier. So if I've got good intellectual property, I've done it correctly, right? I've written a PPA correctly. I've included workarounds and variations of manufacturing. I've really done a good job, right? That has value. That's going to help you. If I have a patent issued, even more value, right? You don't have to, but of course it's helpful. I don't think you need to do that, but it's helpful. If I've got a works-like prototype that I can show exactly how it works, good for you, even better. If I've got a marketing quote and a bill of materials so I know exactly what it's going to cost, good for you. If I know the difference between all the other products on the market, I know my point of difference very clearly, I have a little bit more leverage, good for you. If I know what it's going to retail for, I know what the wholesale price is, and I know there's more profit in there, good for you. Those are all things that are going to help you ask for a bigger number. So,
but most of our students don't have 90% of that, and they're still doing a deal.
I know that, but what I'm talking about, you don't need all that.
Right.
Right.
But if you got it dealing with a Hasbro or something, or sometimes other companies.
Even more than that. If I've got market demand, if I know a company wants it, if I created that, if I've got a PPA, that will help me too. But just to think that if I go into this negotiation and I show them the bare minimum, that's good. But I'm not going to be able to ask higher than 5. It makes it harder. I have an argument to overcome.
I would make the argument that even if you did have those other things, a lot of companies would still keep you at 5. You know, but it might help you close the deal.
It's all about having the confidence to having a good argument why they should pay you more. That's why you need a coach behind you. Yeah. That's why you need someone to go, hey, it's not just the royalty rate, but what about, is it exclusive? What about the improvement clause? What about the grant of license? What about the territories? What about the categories? Because everybody worries about the royalty rate, but there's so many things in the contract that impact that royalty rate. So if you're kind of thinking you're going to figure this out, you are wrong.
Right. And as we talk about all the time, you can get a great royalty rate, but if the volume's not there, it's not going to add up to much. So, but that goes back to some of the earlier questions. There's a lot of interviewing that you have to do. And if you don't know how to do that, you're just going to be answering their questions. You're going to be going down the wrong path. So Stephen's right. The negotiation begins long before you even reach out to the company in knowing how to do things correctly.
Okay. What did Tim say here? Tim said, what you just said, Andrew, is gold. Steering the conversation 70% of the time. So it's unnatural, but critical strategy must be the number one thing inventors miss.
It's not unnatural. I mean, can you talk a little bit about that? They don't even realize you're doing it half the time. It's not going to feel unnatural if you've done it before and you're used to doing it, right? It's not. Does it feel unnatural to you, Stephen, when you do a negotiation?
No, it doesn't, because I'm going to ask good questions. First of all, I'm going to ask questions before we get to the negotiations. I'm going to ask questions at that first call that I can use later, right?
Yes.
And also I'm going to ask them, what's important to you? Right? I'm going to ask them, is intellectual property important? What countries do you want it in? What about our product that you like so much? Could you please tell me about that? I'm going to ask all these other questions, but sometimes us inventors, I've seen them say this before. I've got a call with the company. I'm trying to figure out what type of royalty rate I'm going to ask for. I'm like, that's like going on a first date with the girl and discussing how many kids you're going to have. It's too early. It's out of sequence, Andrew. And if you go out of sequence with the company, it's a red flag that, they're going to have to educate you. They're going to have to hold your hand. This is going to be painful. They don't want that. They're not there to hold your hand to educate you. They're not there for that.
Yeah, definitely. And quite often, maybe the company's licensed 5 things, but the marketing manager that likes your product hasn't ever licensed something. You need to educate them and guide that person because he likes your product, but he doesn't really know how to put a licensing deal together. Stephen, I want to do this question from David Topham here. So David, I completely disagree with this person that told you this. But I love this. I love that you're sharing this. He said, I know your perspective, but a while ago, somebody told me if it's difficult to manufacture, you must license it. If it's easy and inexpensive to produce, then maybe you should form a company and produce it yourself. Clarifying thoughts. They're missing like 90% of the game here. So, okay, let's say it's a piece of cake. Let's say it's the easiest thing in the world to manufacture. It's still hard. Trust me. If you've never manufactured something, outsource something to China or whatever you have to do, it could be easy as hell. And it's still hard just on the manufacturing. But you still need to do marketing. You still need to raise money and work on cash flow. Retailers don't want to give you the time of day because you're a one product company. So this person that told you that doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. They're like, oh, well, it's easy to manufacture. They're not looking at the entire business that you need to run. They're looking at like 1/10 of it to manufacture.
The person that gave that advice has never done it before.
No, they haven't. They haven't. But
here's the other thing too. If you're going to get advice from somebody, make sure they've done it before, right? And make sure they've done it repeatedly. And make sure they've got references, or make sure they've got a resume, or make sure whatever, because there's a lot of free advice out there, Andrew, and sometimes it's free, but it's very costly if you take it. So just be really aware that whoever you decide to have a conversation with or get some information, make sure they've got a lot of experience at this. I know a lot of people that have ideas. They ask people, what should I do? Well, get a patent. you're like, oh, wait, what does that person know about patents? Has he ever filed a patent? I mean, why would you get a patent? I mean, it's like, come on, you guys, just.
Well, this way, you've heard me say this before, Stephen. Consider it a compliment. They have no idea what they're talking about. What they're saying is, I like your idea. I think it's a great idea. I'm worried about you getting ripped off, so get a patent. So they're
Okay.
giving you terrible advice, but they're saying, I like your idea. I think it has value. So just take it for what it is, but don't run out and get a patent the second somebody tells you you should do that. Evaluate, you know. And anything we share with you today should not be considered legal advice. Please consult your attorney if you're looking for legal advice. This is just general business.
Want legal advice? Andrew's here. He'll help you with all your.
Right. I'm gonna.
Here's another one. What about licensing agents? Andrew, I want to hire a licensing agent to represent me. No, I want to give someone my idea and let them do all the work. I want a licensing agent that's going to take my product and get a deal.
All right. So first off, I'm not going to tell you they're a unicorn and they don't exist. But most people that are doing what a licensing agent is claiming to do, you got an idea and they're going to reach out for you. Most of them would be considered invention promotion or invention submission companies, the companies that the Federal Trade Commission and the Patent Office warn against. And they kind of pretend to work on your idea. They say the contract says you need to submit your idea to industry. If they just spam 3 people with some emails, they met their contractual obligation. Now, here's what we experience at inventRight. For people that have so-called agents, every single day, or at least every other day, Dana and Sylvia, who are salespeople here at inventRight, talk to somebody that say they're like licking their wounds. It was 10 years ago, 2 years ago, whenever, and this inventor spent $10,000 or $12,000, and we say, how did that work out? Nothing, zero, zilch. Now, I have never personally talked to an inventor in the 23 years I've been doing inventRight, in the 14 years I did my Inventor Association Silicon Valley, that ever personally that I've witnessed licensed a product that way. Now, because the work isn't really happening,
it
people.
So appealing. It sounds so.
Well, that's what they do. They reach out to companies. The problem is they're not really reaching out. They're taking your money, and then they're taking money from somebody else, and it's all a game. Okay, it's like a bad neighborhood you wander into where they're selling crack on the corner. Don't go there. Okay,
Andrew,
it's like
Andrew.
I love that. That's fun. Anyway, just don't go there. Now, why are our students licensing stuff? Because they made a decision. I'm ready to do the work. We talked to plenty of inventors. They're like, well, you guys are going to make me do work. I don't want to do that. Great. We don't want them. But the people that are ready to do work and ready to be professional and ready to spend 2 to 6 hours a week, those two, and I'm going to consistently work on my product. They license products, not because it's rocket science. I mean, we do make sure you do and say everything right, but because they're actually doing the real work. They're acting like a professional inventor. And so-called licensing agents are not. Now, there might be some anomalies. They're licensing agents.
I'm all about show me the proof. I want to say one thing because we're coming up on the hour pretty quick.
Did I ramble enough on that?
Oh, you did.
You did.
You rambled today. You did.
All right, good. You did too. You had some spice in you, man. You were like, I'm upset about this and this.
I want to say one thing. I want to thank everybody for attending today, first of all. And I also want to say that you're curious enough to attend these live Q&As and you're educating yourself. Congratulations. That's the first step. But I also want to talk about, and I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. What do we do at inventRight? We help you license ideas. Very simple. How do we do it? Well, we do it with the roadmap. We do it with great coaches, and we get you in the game, and we follow everything that you're doing to make sure you all do the right things. Why do we care? There it is, you guys. Why are Andrew and I doing this Q&A today? Why does Andrew do Q&A every Monday at inventRight TV for years? Why do we have 950 videos on our YouTube channel, which are getting close to 70,000 subscribers? Why have we written 1,000 articles on this topic? Why? Okay, it's very simple. I know, and Andrew knows, how it feels when you have an idea here and you see it out there in the world and people are using it and sharing it. We know we know what that feels like. We know how remarkable that is. We know that you feel like empowered. We know that you feel special. We know what that feeling is. And we also know that if we can help you do that, that we feel the same thing you do again and again and again. That's the most amazing feeling. We love it. We're dedicated to it. We're not going to stop doing it. We want you to be successful. We don't want you to make these bad mistakes. We want to be able to shine the light on you and your success, because we want you to open the doors for all of us.
And I'm really proud. All our coaches are former students that shined as exceptional. And they also, we noticed that they're really helpful people and kind people. And that's who we hired as a coach. So they get off on helping people be the successful inventor they want to be. Because doing this is like coming up with ideas is part of who you are. Now, actually reaching out to companies and doing the work, that needs to be part of who you are too. So when we can help people feel empowered like that, we get a rush out of it. I mean, maybe it's selfish. Maybe it makes us feel good, and we want that. We're adrenaline junkies, and we get that rush. And even people in our customer service team, our sales team, and our coaching team, they hear that regularly, and that keeps them going. So that's why we do it. You know.
Yeah, and I want to thank everyone that writes me these beautiful notes saying that you thank us for doing that. So, Andrew, I've got a class to teach in a few minutes.
I know, but I want to say this. Jim said, "Hi guys, thanks for today. As always, great as always. I have my first call with Coach Keanu tomorrow. I'm ready to go." Keanu's amazing. He's one of our younger coaches. I don't know if him or Courtney are younger. I haven't checked, but he's really driven. He's amazing. You're gonna love him, Jim. And then Melissa, I think she might be new. Did I hear you correctly earlier that 5% is a common royalty rate? Is that based on the retail sales price? Usually based on the wholesale. But Melissa, I'm going to tell you, sometimes a company only has a 20% profit margin. They're giving you a quarter of that, and they're going to do all the work, take all the risk. It's amazing. Now, the volume is where it's at. You're getting 5%. They're selling 500,000 units a year, 50,000, whatever's appropriate for that product. You got to do the numbers. And you run the numbers like, oh, I would be happy with that royalty, or I wouldn't. So that's what you want to do for those that are new. Okay, great. Oh, and then Lori said, stumbling across your page on YouTube last fall was no coincidence. Thank you so much. Coach Courtney is the bomb. Yes, she is. You know, you guys are quoting both our two youngest coaches, and they're amazing.
Now, let me tell you the thing about what Courtney said to me that was so important. She says, Steve, when I work with someone on their idea, it's like this little bird or this little plant that's just growing. And my job is to protect it. My job is to grow it. My job to let it fly. My job is to grow it into a tree. When she told me that, it made sense to me that she has the same mission I do. And if you're listening today, you have the same mission we all do. We need to support each other. We need for you to be part of the conversation, and we want you to be successful, because I'll tell you, when I saw this happen, Andrew, after working so long with this gentleman and now seeing this, I feel
amazing. Great. Yeah. Yeah, it's even more empowering than your own products, because you help somebody else out. So, Stephen, I know you got to go because you're teaching this class for kids. You guys should check out inventRight.com. Click on the free resources. Make sure to sign up for that if you haven't. And if you want to talk to Sylvia or Dana or myself, click on the contact us page. We'd be happy to talk to you about how we can help. And Stephen, good luck with the kids. And take care, everybody. Keep inventing. See you next time. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.